Welcome students. In this session we are going to discuss on probability. The probability of an event is defined as a number of outcomes favorable to that event divided by total number of mutually exclusive, exhaustive and equally likely outcome of the random experiment. Let us understand the definition with an example. Consider a random experiment that two coins are tossed. Okay, say this is a random experiment. Why this is a random experiment? The random experiment means if the outcome of the experiments are equally likely, then that is called a random experiment. Now you see what are the possible outcomes of this experiment. Its outcome can be in both the coins head will come, or it can be head in the first and tail in the second, or it can be tail in the first and head in the second coin, or in both the coins tail will come. So these are the possible outcomes. So here in this set we have shown the different elements as the outcome of this random experiment. This set is also called the sample space, generally represented by S. Okay, so in the denominator of this fraction you can see the total number of mutually exclusive, exhaustive and equally likely outcome of the random experiment has been shown. Here you can see all the outcomes has been shown here. That means it is exhaustive. Exhaustive means all possible outcomes has been taken. These individual outcomes are equally likely, so each of the outcome having the same chance of occurrence. Okay, and they are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means between two outcomes there is nothing common. Okay, so that means they are mutually exclusive. So in the denominator is basically the number of such outcomes. So total number of such outcomes are what? That is number of elements of this sample space, and that is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there are 4 such outcomes. So this will be the denominator. Now in the numerator it is the number of outcomes favorable to that event. So first of all we have to define what is an event, because the probability that you have defined is of with respect to some event. You have to find out the probability of event A. So let us define an event that, suppose the event is getting 2 heads. Getting 2 heads. So this is an event. Okay, so if we want to write the outcomes of this event, what are the outcomes? Its outcomes are only this one, getting 2 heads. Okay, so number of outcomes favorable to this event is how much? That is only 1. So number of elements of this event A favorable to this event A is 1. So the probability of this event A, probability of getting 2 heads, is defined as number of outcomes favorable to this event A divided by total number of outcomes or the number of elements of the sample space. So here this is 1 and this is 4. So answer of that probability of getting 2 heads, if 2 coins are tossed, 2 coins are tossed. This is what is the random experiment. So with respect to this random experiment, probability of this event is 1 by 4. Okay, I hope you have understood the basic meaning of probability. Now see some of the properties of probability. Okay, so probability must lie between 0 and 1. Its minimum value will be 0. That means if the event is a null set, in that case the probability of occurring that event is 0, or the probability can be maximum 1 if the event itself indicates the sample space. Okay, now see the addition rule. The addition rule is probability of A union B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A intersection B. A and B, these two events may not be mutually exclusive. Let us consider this situation, say A. Let us consider this one is B. So here you can see this A and B, they are not mutually exclusive because this portion is common between A and B. So this region which has been shaded here is called the A intersection B. That means the portion which is common. Okay, so if this A intersection B is null, that means if you consider this is A and this set is B, then there is nothing common. So here these two sets we can call as mutually exclusive. Okay, if two sets or the two events are mutually exclusive, then A intersection B will be null and its probability will be 0. So for mutually exclusive case, you can always write probability of A union B is equal to probability of A plus probability of B. Okay, this is called the theorem of total probability. Okay, but remember, this is true only if A and B are mutually exclusive, because in that case this probability will become 0 because A intersection B is null. But in general the formula is this one, which is called addition rule. Now see the probability of complementary event. Let us consider A and A prime. These are complementary event. Complementary event means if you consider this is the whole sample space, the total outcome, and let us consider this is a particular event that you have defined. Okay, then anything which is outside A but included in the sample space, anything has to be included in the sample space. So this is what is A complement. Okay, so the probability relationship is that if you know the probability of A, then you can easily find out probability of A complement simply if you subtract that probability from 1. Okay, so this is a very important property that we are going to use in this section. Now theorem of compound probability or multiplication rule that you can remember is this one, where probability of A intersection B is probability of A into probability of B given A. Okay, this probability of B, it is known that or given that A has occurred. So this is what is the meaning of this symbol, that B given that A means you have to find out the probability of an event, say B. It is known that A has already occurred. It is the meaning of that. This is also called the conditional probability. Okay, conditional probability of B given A can be defined from the multiplication rule as probability of A intersection B divided by probability of A. Okay, this is again a very important rule. Now see, if A and B are independent events, then probability of A intersection B is equal to probability of A into probability of B. Independent events. Independent event means that probability, if A and B are independent, which means probability of B with respect to A or probability of B given that A is same as probability of B, which means that whether A has occurred or not, this B probability of B is not going to change. So what is probability of B? Whether A has occurred or A has not occurred, it will remain same. That means the occurrence of B is independent of occurrence of A. So that is what is called the independent events. So in case of independent events, we can say probability of A intersection B is equal to probability of A into probability of B. And that is very much obvious from this expression. You just put this as probability of B and you will get this. Okay. Now the Bayes theorem, that is again a very important property of probability, and many complicated problems can be solved with the help of this property. So according to this property, probability of a particular event, say B J given A is equal to probability of A, and here it is probability of Pj into probability of A given Bj. Okay, so this is what is the Bayes theorem. Here the meaning is that you can consider like this, say this is B1, say this one is B2, sorry, consider this B1, B2, B3 are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Okay, so they will not touch, so just consider in this way. Okay, let us consider this is B1, this is say B2, and this is say B3. Okay, so if this is the condition, then to find out that probability of occurrence of any one of these B, given that A has occurred, can be found out using this formula. Okay, so now with one example, definitely we'll see some of the examples how can we use the Bayes theorem, and when go to the example, then we'll explain this in detail, and then the understanding will be clear. Okay, right now you just remember this basic concept. What are these B1, B2, B3 and A that I have just told you. Now let us start solving some of the problems. So let us start with problem of coins. These are very popular in the probability problems. Let us start. So if two unbiased coins are tossed, what is the probability of obtaining one head and one tail? Okay, two unbiased coins are tossed. So already we have done that. If two unbiased coins are tossed, what is the sample space? We know sample space contains, okay, this is what is the sample space. So what is the total number of possible outcomes? That is 1, 2, 3, 4. And what is the favorable outcome to this particular event? What is the event here? Obtaining one head and one tail. Okay, this is what is the event. What was the random experiment? Two unbiased coins are tossed. This is what is the random experiment. So when you look at the problem, always try to understand which one is the random experiment with which you have to find out something. So when you see the random experiments, then you can find out the denominator. Since two unbiased coins are tossed, so you can find out what will be in the denominator. To find out numerator, what is the favorable case corresponding to that particular event? One head and one tail. So this one and this one. So 2. So answer is half for the first case. Okay. Now coming to the second. If two unbiased coins are tossed, what is the probability of obtaining same results in both cases. What is the meaning of same results in both cases? That means both are head or both are tail. Okay, so how many such favorable cases are there corresponding to problem number 2? So this is one of the case and this is one of the case. So 2. Our total number of cases is again 4 because the random experiments remains the same. Okay, now coming to the third problem. If if 5 unbiased coins are tossed, what is the probability of obtaining at least 4 heads? Okay, now the problem is more generalized, so that it is not possible for a 5 unbiased coin to write the whole sample space, writing all the elements, right? Okay, let us try to write at least one of the elements. Say maybe one of the elements will be head, tail, head, tail, because there are 5 unbiased coins and this may be one of the element. There may be other elements, such elements of group of 5, right? So now you have to use the concept of permutation and combination to find out what is the total number of possible outcomes or the favorable cases. So first, what is the random experiment? 5 unbiased coins are tossed. Okay, if 5 unbiased coins are tossed, then what is the total possible outcomes? Definitely you can see there are 5 places that is to be filled to get a particular outcome. So the first place can be either head or tail. So in 2 ways for each. Second case can be filled either head or tail, third case and the fourth case and the fifth case. So definitely this will be 2 to the power 5. So 2 to the power 5 is the total number of cases in case of a 5 unbiased coins are tossed. Now what is the event here? Event is obtaining at least 4 heads. Obtaining at least 4 heads. At least 4 head means what? Exactly 4 head, exactly 4 head, or exactly 5 head. If you consider the outcomes favorable to these 2 cases, then we will add and we will get the case for the at least 4 heads. So first let us find out what is the number of outcomes corresponding to exactly 4 heads. So let us write one of such. Let us write one of the outcome having 4 heads. Any one of the outcome, say head, head, tail, head, head. So this is one of the outcome. Okay. So how many possible outcomes where 4 heads will be there? So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 can be arranged in how many ways? 5 factorial ways. But out of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 are similar. So divided by 4 factorial, and 1 is there, so 1 factorial. So this quantity is what? This quantity is nothing but 5c4 or 5c1, whatever you write. Okay, so 5c4 means 5c1. So this many number of cases are corresponding to exactly 4. Now what is exactly 5? Exactly 5 here, exactly 5 heads means the case which is having 5 heads. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Obviously only one case is there, right? So 5c4 is what? 5c1 is equal to 5, and so these cases are 5 and these cases are 1. So total how many such cases are there? Total 6 cases are there. Okay, so what will be your answer? So your final answer will be 6 by 2 to the power 5. Okay, so you write 2 to the power 5 as 32 and then simplify, you will get the answer will be 3 by 16. Now coming to the next problem, problem number 4. If 5 unbiased coins are tossed, what is the probability of obtaining at least 1 head? Okay, obtaining at least 1 head means what? How can we solve the problem? If we go by the previous method, what we have to do? Find exactly 1 head, find exactly 1 head, then find what is the probability, what is the favorable case corresponding to exactly 2 head, and so on, and finally exactly 5 heads. Okay, so in this way we can solve, but for these cases it will be better if you use the concept of complementary event. Okay, so at least 1 head what is the complement of that event? Complement of this event, at least one head. Suppose your event is what is there, at least one head. So let us write the complementary event. What is the complementary event? Just opposite to that, at least one head, just opposite is there will be no head. There will be no head. So complement to this event, that at least one head, is nothing but no head. So let us find out what is probability of A complement. So probability of A complement will be, so if there will be no head, that means all are tails. So how many such outcomes are there? Only one outcomes. Okay, so favorable cases is 1. And what is the total number of cases of the random experiment? That will remain same, that is 2 to the power 5, that is 32. So now you know what is PA complement. So what is PA? So PA will be equal to 1 minus PA complement. Okay, so this is the formula that we have seen earlier in the first page, so that we can use here. So your answer will be 1 minus 1 by 32 or 31 by 32. So this is the answer. Okay, now coming to the next problem, where what is the probability of getting exactly 4 heads if a coin is tossed 10 times. Now it is the similar problem. So now it is coin is tossed 10 times. So now the random experiment is this one. So what is the total outcome? 2 to the power 10. What is the favorable cases? It is 4 heads. So out of 10 there will be 4 heads. So how many way they can be arranged? 10 heads. Out of them 4 heads can be arranged, and remaining 6 tails are also similar objects. So 6. So this is nothing but 10C4. Okay, now if you simplify, you will get this answer. Okay, now coming to next page. Here we will see some of the problems on dice. Okay, see the first problem first. A die is tossed and number in face is observed. Okay, so a die is tossed, a single die is tossed. So what are the possible outcomes? Definitely either it can be 1, or it can be 2, or it can be 3, 4, 5 or 6. So this is what is the sample space of this random experiment, that a die is tossed. Okay, now what is the event here? So that we have to find out the probability of that event. Event is, find the probability of obtaining an even number. Obtaining an even number, this is what is the event. We have to find out probability of this event. Okay, so total number of outcome is what? Here the total number of elements 6. What is that even number? How many even numbers are there? 1, 2, 3. So this is the 3 is the favorable cases corresponding to this event. So the probability is 1 by 2. So this is the answer of the first one. Now the second part, what is the probability of obtaining a 6? Probability of obtaining a 6, again the random experiment is same. So total possible outcome 6. Now how many 6 are there? Only one 6 is there. So favorable to this event is 1. So answer is 1 by 6. Okay. Now what is the probability? Second question, what is the probability of getting 12 as product when 2 dice are thrown? Okay, now the random experiment has been changed. Now it is 2 dice are thrown. If the 2 dice are thrown, let us first see what is the total number of possible outcome. If 2 dice are thrown, the possible outcome will be 6 square. That means 36. Okay. So now you have to find out that 12 will be the product of the faces. So how many ways 12 can be possible? See, it can be 1 into 12, but that cannot be taken because 12 cannot be on a face, right? So 2 into 6, 3 into 4, maybe in the first die it is say 4 and the second die it is 3, first die it is 6 and the second die it is 2, because in the 36 outcomes we have taken all the possible cases, that is 1 2 is also taken and 2 1 is also taken, and then only you will get total 36 outcomes. So again you have to consider these cases therefore. So how many such cases are 12 is the product possible? 1 2 3 4. So the favorable cases are 4. So 4 by 36 is 1 by 9. So that is the answer. Now coming to the next problem. So next problem is this one. What is the probability of obtaining a sum of 10 in a single throw with 5 dice? So single throw with 5 dice is the random experiment. Okay, so single throw with 5 dice. So what is the total number of outcomes? Simply 6 to the power 5, because there are 5 dice. Okay. Now what is the favorable outcome corresponding to that its sum will be 10. Okay, so there are 5 dice and their sum will be 10. So let us consider the faces having numbers like A, B, C, D and E. There are 5 dice and the sum will be 10. And how many ways this A, B, C, D, E can have different values? We know that, but the formula that we know, that is corresponding to even A, B, C can be 0. But here the faces cannot be 0, at least faces will be 1. If the faces are 1, so first thing is that you just put 1 to all the faces. Then it will remain what? It will become A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime and E prime, and that is equal to, you simply subtract 5 from that, so it will remain 5. Okay, so now you can apply the formula. What was the formula? The 5, what will be the sum? 5 plus how many places that is to be filled up, so 5 plus 5 minus 1, C, how many places you have to fill up, that is 5, so 5 minus 1, so it is coming 9C4. So it is coming 9C4. So this is what is the answer. Okay, so now coming to the next problem, problem number 4. So here the problem is two players A and B toss a die alternately. He who first throws a 6 wins the game. If A begins, what is the probability that he wins? Okay, so what is the game that they are playing? Suppose A throws first, and if A got 6, then A will win. If A do not get 6, then it will be B's turn. So if B got 6, then B will win. If B is also not getting 6, then it will be again A's turn. So when who actually first throws 6 will win the game. So this is what is the game. The question is, what is the probability that A will win if A starts the game? Okay, so what are the different possibilities by which A can win? So maybe in the first turn A makes a 6, then A will win. S means the success. If A gets success in the first turn, then A win. Or it may possible that in the first turn A is not succeeded, then A failed, then to win A to win, then B also has to be failed, and then it will be A's turn and A will get a success. So in that case also A win. Or what happens? A failed, B also failed, then A also failed, then B also failed, and then A get a success. So in this way, infinite number of possible ways by which A can win. So you have to consider all such cases, and then you have to find out their probability and you have to add. So what is the probability that A will get a 6 in the first turn? In the first turn A will get a 6. The probability of getting a 6 in a single turn is 1 by 6. Now what is the probability that this situation will occur? A will fail, then B will fail, then A will get success. So A will fail, that means A in the first turn it will not be 6 but other any 5 points. So that can happen in how many ways? 5 ways out of 6. So the probability of a failure of A is 5 by 6. Clear? Then it is B's turn. So B also has to be failed. Okay, so these are all intersection relationship. That means A has to fail, B has to fail, then again A has to win or A has to get a success. So these are all intersection, and these throws are independent events. Since they are independent events, so their intersection of that probability of their intersection will become the product of their probability, and that's why what we can write, then B will fail will be this, then A will get success, that means this. Okay, so basically what we have used this formula, that probability of A intersection B intersection C is equal to product of their probability, like PA into PB into PC. Okay, so this is what is the rule that is applicable if A, B, C are independent events, which is the case here. Now what will be the next term? Tell me. So how many 5 by 6 will be there? So 5 by 6 whole to the power 4 will come, and then 1 by 6. Okay, so in this way this will go. So clearly this is an infinite series, and rather to be very specific, infinite GP series, where the first term is 1 by 6 and the common ratio is 5 by 6 whole square. So what is the sum? You know the formula for infinite GP series, the sum is A by 1 minus common ratio. So here A is what? The first term 1 by 6 and common ratio is what? 5 by 6 whole square. Okay, now you simply just if you simplify this one, you will get the answer, this one. Okay, 6 by 11. Okay, now what is the probability that B winning the game? The probability of B winning the game you can do in the similar fashion, that initially it will start with the failure of A and the success of B, then failure of A, failure of B, then failure of A, and then success of B. In this way you can do, or what you can do, you can simply, since you have already found out that what is the probability of A, definitely probability of B will be 1 minus of that, because A and B, these are complementary event. Either A will win or B will win, and they are mutually exclusive. So you can do in that way. Okay. Now coming to the problem of cards, but before that let us see some of the basic certain things that you have to remember if you are not familiar with the cards. So in a card there are total 52 cards. Remember, in a full pack of cards there are 52 cards. In 52 cards there are 4 suits. So how many suits are there? 4 suits are there, and these suits are what? Club, spade, heart and diamond. So 4 suits are there. Now you can see, so each suits, like club, there are 13 cards. Similarly spade, 13 club, in this way. Now this particular card written A is called S. So how many A's are there? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Corresponding to each suits there is 1 ace. Now these cards here you can see Jack, Queen and King, these are called face cards. So in each suit you can see there are 3 face cards, Jack, Queen and King. So total how many face cards are there? You can see total 12 face cards are there. Now ace and face cards, that means ace, Jack, Queen and King, these cards are called honor cards. These are called honor cards. Okay, so these are certain terminologies used in cards. Okay, so and one more thing, you can see how many red cards are there. You can see heart and diamond, they are red, and spade and club, they are black. So these are certain things. Now let us see some of the problems on cards. Here you see that a problem that 3 cards are drawn from a full pack of 52 cards. So this is what is the random experiment. So 3 cards are drawn from a pack of 52 cards. Okay, so what is the total number of outcome? So out of 52 cards, 3 cards are chosen. So 52C3 is the total number of outcome. Because you know the random experiment, that means this will be the denominator for all the cases where as long as the random experiment is same. Now we have to find out the probability of different events, and those different events are given A, B, C, D, E. So let us see the first problem. The probability of the event that 2 are red cards and 1 is black card. Okay, 2 are red cards, 1 is black card. What is the favorable corresponding to this? Let us find out. 2 are red cards. So total how many red cards are there? Total 26 are red and 26 are black. So 2 cards will come from 26 red cards and 1 card will come from the remaining 26 black card. So this will be the favorable case corresponding to this one. So what will be the answer? So answer will be this divided by this. Now how to simplify this? So this will be the answer 52C3. I am showing you the technique of simplifying this. Just try to remember that when it is written 26C2, we write 2 terms from 26. So 26 into 25. Okay, so now you see divided by 2 factorial. Some problem is going on. Divided by 2 factorial. Okay, and this 2 factorial is nothing but 2. So similarly for 26C1 it will be 26 divided by 1 factorial, because from the last we will write only one term. Okay, similarly for 52C3 it will be what? 52 into 51 into 50 divided by 3 factorial. So 3 factorial is basically 6. So you can write this one. So answer will be this one. So this quantity divided by this. Okay. So now see the second problem. So 1 is heart, 1 is spade and 1 is diamond. Okay. So let us try to find out the favorable cases corresponding to that. 1 is heart, 1 is spade and 1 is diamond. So how many hearts are there? There are 13 hearts. So 1 you have to choose. There are 13 spades, out of which you have to choose 1. And there are 1 diamond, so you have to choose 1, 13, C1. Okay, so this is what is the favorable outcome divided by the total number of our outcome, that is 52C3. Okay, now let us see the next problem, that is C. C denominator will remain same for all the cases. Let us just write the what will be the numerator. They are from different suits. So 3 cards that you have drawn, they will be from different suits. Okay, so how many suits are there? There are total 4 suits. So how many ways you can choose any 3 suits? That is 4C 3 ways. Okay, so now remaining portion is simple. You choose 1 card from this 13 from one suit, 1 card from the other suit and 1 card from the other suit. Okay, next question. Next question is, that is question number D. they are from different suits and different denomination. They are from different suits and different denominations. First you have to choose 3 suits. That can be done in 4C3 ways, and they will be of different denominations. The denominations means, suppose one card, if it is 2, then the other card may be from different suits but cannot be 2. Okay, that may be some other value. So first you have identified the suits. Let us choose one card from a particular suit. Then that card must be of a particular number, but the second one should not be of that denomination. So remaining 12 denomination, you have to choose the second card. Similarly, already 2 cards you have taken from 2 different suits, but they are of different denominations. In the third denomination you have to choose a different card. So that is why it will be 11C1. Okay, so this will be the answer of question number D. Now question number E. At least one of them is an S. Okay, at least one of them is an S. So here also you can solve this problem considering the just the reverse, or that means the complementary event. That means let us find out what is the probability of the event that there is no S. So there is no S. That means how many S's are there total in a card? 4 S's are there. There will be no S means all these 3 cards will come from those 48 cards. Okay, so that can be done in 48C3. So here you can see this is what is the probability of that event which is complementary to this event. So what will be the probability of this event? That will be 1 minus this. Okay, so this will be the answer. Now coming to the last one. All of them will be face cards of different suits. All of them will be face cards of different suits. Okay, so how can we do that? From different suits. So first of all you have to choose 3 suits out of 4. Then all of them will be face cards. So how many face cards from suit 1? There are 3 face cards. So 3C1 into, from different suit, again 1 you have to choose face from the face card, and 3C1. So 3 into 3 into 3 into 4C3, that is 4C1, and you have to do the calculation. Okay, now coming to the problem on balls. See, a bag contains 6 white and 4 black balls. Suppose the problem given that a bag contains 6 white and 4 black balls. The first question is, one ball is drawn. What is the probability that it is white? Okay, so first of all, one ball is drawn. This is what is the random experiment. So one ball is drawn. So how many ways one ball can be drawn? There are total 10 balls. So one ball can be drawn from 10 in 10C1 ways. Okay, what is the event? Event is that the ball is white. This is what is the event, and you have to find out probability of that event. The ball is white. So there are 6 white balls, so ball has to come from this 6. So that can be done in 6C1 ways. So its answer will be 6 divided by 10, or 3 by 5. Okay, now coming to the second problem. Second problem, if 2 balls are drawn one after another. So here you look at the condition that 2 balls are drawn one after another. What is the probability that first one is white and the second one is black? Okay, so here from the event you are getting some idea of the order in which the balls are taken out. So this is a special kind of a problem, since in the event this concept of order is there. So when you are calculating the total possible outcomes, that you can consider with order. So if you consider the order, then in place of combination, basically you know that what we do, arrangement, order, that means you have to consider the permutation. So the first ball, it can come in 10 ways, total 10 balls. The second ball, it can be any one of the 9. So this is the total number of possible outcomes in that case when the orders are important. Okay, and what are the favorable outcome? Favorable outcome corresponding to this event, that is one is white and the second one, first one is white and the second one is black. So first one is white, that can be done in 6 ways, and the second one is black, that can be done in 4 ways. Okay, so this is what is the favorable outcome. So this is what is the probability, 6 into 4 by 10 into 9. Now if you simplify, you will get the answer to be, what will be the answer? I think one of the answer is not there. You just check what is the answer. Here you see, by 3 it will be 3, by 3 it will be 2, it is 5, so it is coming 4 by 15. So this is what is the answer of the first one. Now the second part, it is one ball is black and one ball is white. Now you see the question, same question, one ball is black, one ball is white. So you need not to consider the order, just simply do what is the total cases possible. Out of 10 balls, you are drawing 2 balls. You can do it in 10 C2 ways. One ball is white and one ball is black. Sorry, there are 4 black balls. So this is what is the answer of the second part. Okay, now coming to the third part of the problem, where if 5 balls are drawn, at random, what is the probability that 3 are white and 2 are black? Again, the total earn is same, 6 white and 4 black balls, but 5 balls are drawn. So what is the possible outcome? Out of 10, you are actually withdrawing 5 balls. So 10C5. Okay, and what is the favorable case? The event is there are 3 white and 2 black balls. Simple now, 6C3 and 2 black balls. So 4C2. Okay, so these are not difficult problems. You just think logically, you will be able to answer. Now see the next problem. 2 successive draws of 3 balls are made without replacement. What is the probability of the first drawing will give 3 white and the second drawing will give 3 black? Okay, so here again you see it's a total 6 ball has been drawn, but there is a question of order here also. There are 2 successive draws. So first having 3 balls has been drawn, and the second turn again 3 balls are drawn. So in this way it has been done, 2 successive 3 balls. So total possible outcome what? So first 10C3. Now without replacement, again you draw 3. That means how many are remaining after 3 when it was taken? 7. So then next 3 will come from 7. So these will be the total possible outcomes. Okay, so now what will be the numerator? Favorable outcome corresponding to first 3 will be white. So first 3 will come from definitely 6 white balls, and next 3 will be black. So that will come from 4 black ball. 4C3. Okay, so if you simplify, you will get the answer. Okay, now here you see one urn contains 4 white and 2 black balls, and a second urn contains 1 white and 3 black balls. Okay, so now the problem is that there are 2 urns. Let us consider this is 1 urn and this is another urn. The first urn, and this is the second urn. The first urn contains 4 white, and the second urn and 2 black balls. 2 black balls, and the second urn contains 1 white and 3 black balls. Okay, now the question is if one ball is chosen from each urn. Okay, so one ball is chosen from each urn, what is the probability that they will be of same color? Okay, to solve this problem, let us do it in this way, that one ball is chosen from each urn. What is the probability that it is a white ball? Okay, so you have to find out the probability of the white ball. So one urn is chosen. If the urns are chosen at random, so let us consider the selection of the urn will be equally probable. Okay, so probability of choosing this urn is half. So first, suppose if this urn is chosen, the probability is half, and you are drawing a ball, so it will be what? White. So how many ways it can possible? 4 by 6. Okay, one ball is chosen from each urn. What is the probability that they will be of same color? Okay, so which one we are doing? I'm sorry, the first one, right? So one ball is chosen from each urn. What is the probability that they will be of same color? Okay, they will be of same color means what? They both can be white or they both can be black, right? So we are doing the problem number 1. So both will be white. So the first one is white. What is the probability of that? 4 by 6. And the second one is also white. What is the probability of that? That is 1 by 4. That means when you are choosing one ball from each urn, then basically the first one has to be white and the second one also has to be white. So it's an intersection event. That means this has to be done and this also has to be done. So and is there. Okay, intersection is to be considered, and since they are independent events, so we have just multiplied their probability. But in another way also we can get the same color, that is if both are black. So if both are black, so this can be done in how many ways? That can be done in from the first urn, if it is a black, it will be 2 by 4, right? 2 by 6, 2 by 6 into the second urn, if it is to be black, it will be 3 by 4. So this plus this. Okay, if you do this calculation, you will get what will be the answer. Okay, so that both the balls will be of same color. So you have first consider if both are white, then what is the probability? If both are black, then what is the probability? Okay, now let us go to next problem. So in the next problem, it is if the urn is selected at random and one ball is drawn from it. Urn is selected at random. That means since they are nothing is specified about the urns, so you will consider they are equally likely when you are selecting them. So the selection probability of the urn 1 is half and selection probability of urn 2 is also half. They are same. So one urn is chosen, one urn is selected, and one ball is drawn from it. What is the probability that it is a white? So to be white, what we can write is that if the urn 1, if we consider the urn 1 is chosen, then what is the probability of urn 1 chosen is half. If one urn 1 was chosen, then what is the probability that if a ball is drawn that is white, that is simply 4 by 6. Or how can a ball be white if the urn 2 is chosen? The probability of urn 2 is chosen is half. And what is the probability that it will be white? That is 1 by 4. Okay, so if you simplify, you will get that this is what is the probability that the ball will be white. Okay, so in this way we can solve problem number 2. So the next problem is one ball is transferred from first urn to the second, and then one ball is drawn from the latter. It turns out to be black. What is the probability that the transferred ball was white? Okay, now this problem is a problem of Bayes theorem. Okay, so let us try to understand how to use the Bayes theorem through this problem. So again the condition is same, that there are two urns. So what is done, what is given in the problem, that one ball is transferred from urn 1 to urn 2, and then one ball is chosen and it has been found to be it turns out to be black. That is given. The question is then find out the probability that the ball that was transferred was white. So you have to find out the probability of the white ball has been transferred. Okay, so to solve this problem, let us consider the events. So let us consider the event A is a black ball is selected from the urn 2. A black ball is selected from urn 2. So this is what is the event, and say B1 we are selecting is that a white ball is transferred. A white ball is transferred. A white ball is transferred, and B2 is a black ball is transferred. A black ball is transferred. A black ball is transferred. Okay. Now what we have to find out is that probability of that the white ball has been transferred. So probability of B1, that you have to find out. Probability of B1, but given that A has occurred. So you have to find out the probability of white ball has been transferred. It is known that a black ball has been selected from the urn 2. So this quantity that you have to find out. Okay. So to find that, what we will do is that we first find out what is the total probability of A. So total probability of A we can find out in this way. You just observe that probability of A is equal to what? That if the black ball is transferred, if a white ball is transferred from urn 1 to urn 2, then what is the probability of getting a black ball? So if a white ball is transferred, then what is the probability of getting a black ball? That is 3 divided by, if the ball is white that is transferred, so total number of balls in urn 2 will be 3 plus 2 white balls, so total 5. So 3 by 5 is the probability of getting a black ball. But what is the probability of transferring a white ball? The probability of transferring a white ball is definitely, how many white balls are there here? That is 4 by total 6. So this is the case corresponding to if the white ball is transferred and it is observed it is black. In another way, the black ball we can get. What is that? If the black ball is transferred and you get the black ball. If the black ball is transferred, then what is the probability of that black ball is transferred? That is 2 divided by 6. Because in urn 1 basically 2 black balls are there out of 6. And now if one ball is drawn and that is found black, then what is that probability? Because now if the black ball is transferred, total number of black balls will become 4, right? So 4, and total number of balls is now 5. So 5. So this is what is the total probability, PA. So according to Bayes' theorem, this probability will be equal to, simply at the bottom it will be PA, that means this plus this, and in the top it will be corresponding to which event you have to find out. You have to find out corresponding to white or B1. So which is the contribution of B1? This was the contribution of B1 in that addition. So you write the whole term in the numerator. So what is that? That is 4 by 6 into 3 by 5. So this will be the answer. Okay, so PA you can calculate from here, and this value is what is the contribution from the if white ball is transferred. Okay, so in Bayes theorem the only thing that you have to remember is that find out the total probability of that occurrence, and in that summation which is the contribution corresponding to that event that you have to take in the numerator, and this ratio will give you the probability that which ball has been transferred here. Okay, so in this way the problems are solved. Let us take one more problem on Bayes theorem and try to understand the concept. Suppose there are three identical boxes, 1, 2 and 3. Suppose three identical boxes are there. In first box there are 4 white and 3 red. In the second one there are 3 white and 7 red. In the third one 2 white and 3 red balls are there. Okay, a box is chosen at random, a ball is drawn, a box is chosen at random. So what is the probability of choosing a particular box? So this is basically a B1 event, that selection of urn 1, selection of urn 2, that is B2 event. Okay, and what is the B3 event? Selection of urn 3. Okay, so you can see these events, and what are the probability of these events? Since selection is random and they are equally likely, so this probability is 1/3. Okay, so this probability is 1/3. So now what you can do is that a box is chosen at random and a ball is drawn out of it. A ball is drawn out of it, and if the ball is found to be white, so now the A, that is basically a white ball is drawn. A white ball is drawn. A white ball is drawn. This is what is the event. So let us find out the probability of A. So tell me, what is the probability of A? It will be simply what? If the urn 1 is selected, that means 1/3. Then what is the probability that it will be white? That is 4/7, plus if the urn 2 is selected, probability is 1/3 into 3/10, plus if the urn 3 is selected, the probability is 1/3 and the white, so 2/5. Okay, so in this way we can find out the total probability. So the question is what is the probability that box 2 was selected? So since box 2 was selected, so in this summation which is the contribution from the box 2? This is the contribution from box 2. So your answer will be, this quantity will come in the numerator, that means 1/3 into 3/10 divided by this summation, and this summation is what? P. So this will be the answer, that the ball came from the box 2. Okay, so let us stop this video here, and the next video will continue from here. Okay.